Hello everyone, welcome to Respectful Dave, welcome to Saturday's stream. In today's warm-up puzzle, we have White, who is struggling in the back rank. White's pieces do look very scary. Specifically, I think that this is a very sharp position, because if it was White to play, there would be already all sorts of horrible things happening. Queen c7, bishop discoveries. So we have to be very quick, but on the other side, these two pieces are pretty disconnected from the defense of the white king. So that should ring a bell, together with the back rank and your usual candidate moves, which should be checks, bishop e4, queen f5, queen g6, and queen h7. One of them should appeal to you more than the others, and that should be queen h7. Why? Because you had previously already sensed that the back rank was weak. So queen h7 jumps into your mind, and in this case it is the answer, because it doesn't matter what white plays, you're going to invade. Oh, wait a second. You're going to invade in the first rank, and the reason why I said wait a second is because after rook c2, queen h1 is winning easily, king a1, queen h1, even more, but g6, queen h1, we have to calculate king c2, but after queen c1, king d3, knight f4 doesn't work. So here, let's just pause for a second. Queen h1, king c2, bishop e4 is another candidate move. Actually, this is trickier than I thought. Queen takes g6 doesn't work because of king a1. So queen h1, king c2. Bear with me. Queen c1, there are two candidate moves here. And there's also bishop e4. Ah, wait a second. Bishop e4 first. We prevent king c2. And then we go queen h1. There we go. So we got a little bit confused there. That's why it's actually pathetic from me to not have expected g6. I assumed that queen h1 was strong enough to be decisive. But actually we had to be careful. And luckily for us, and something that you should take away from this, is we paused, we sensed that things were not that easy. We didn't jump and impatiently play queen h1. We actually stopped. We said, wait a second, what is going on here? And we kept our composure. So I'm just gonna make sure that we are indeed live. Second, what is going on here? And we kept our composure. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think it's working. So let's start playing 3+0. I've been actually considering a couple of things regarding the presentation of these videos. These live streams. One of them being the background. Many people have said that the light background hurts their eyes. But actually I think I'm going to stick with it. I like the cleanness and professionalism of it. And the second thing I was considering was getting rid of the warm-up puzzle, given that most of the people that benefit from these are actually strong enough to solve the daily puzzle pretty quickly. Okay, those 30 seconds wasted. We are playing a sideline against the French, but then black goes for some sort of Sicilian, so I think we're gonna just transpose into some sort of Grand Prix. Sicilian, which is kind of okay. If my opponent plays the French, then they shouldn't be familiar with Sicilian defenses. And I think here we could actually we can transpose into the sideline of the French. Funnily enough, if they go d5, we can go e5, and we're going to continue with our ideas of knight a3, knight c2. Hello Viking, I'm doing well. What about you? So they don't go for that. So we're just simply going to occupy tons of space. And I like my position. Okay. Let's go bishop e2. And then let's castle here. So we have to be a little bit careful, because we've occupied quite a bit of space. And we have to make sure we're not getting... We have to make sure our position doesn't get absolutely out of hand, out of control. D5 comes to mind. It's actually not that easy to play against D5, but it feels like it liberates this bishop for no good reason. So I guess I'm just going to develop normally, and then they're going to strike in the center, and yeah, I guess I go E5. Okay, I'm going to play King H1. It's a useful move. Okay, B4 is a little bit annoying, so I'm going to play Rook C1, kind of anticipating, because then the C6 knight is going to be under fire. I'm going to try D5 here. Takes. It seems like we put our pieces in good squares first, and we're ready to operate in the center. So E6, D5, knight B4 looks annoying, so I think we have to take with the queen. Inning. Rook takes E6 is a big threat. Knight A5 I missed. Bad news. But the good news is that I have queen D2. Ah, no. I'm not even creating a threat. I'm just blundering this pawn. Okay, this is bad. This is bad news, bad news. I'm gonna try knight G5. Bishop F5 looks weird, so I'm assuming bishop E7 back, and then I'm gonna go for F5 and hope for the best. But the reason why I blunder that is because I managed my time poorly. So I'm already suffering from the consequences of poor time management. Okay, whoa. Okay. This looks pretty annoying. Let's invade. Let's play F5 actually takes. Bishop H5 ideas with Rook C7. Okay, let's take. We should be happy with exchanging pieces. We have 18 seconds. Why is my opponent not suffering on the clock as me? Like me. Okay, we're blundering everything. What are we doing? Just gonna try a little harder. Yeah, this is game over. Let's resign. Good game, Rhaegar. Pretty terrible start. We got a good position. I think out of the things that black can play, I think the normal French is pretty annoying if black plays all the good moves. Yeah. I wonder how I should have approached this, because we have a almost +1 advantage. King H1 was a mistake. Wow, such a natural move. Rook C1 right away. King H1 B5 and it's almost equal. So my opponent punished me correctly. Rook C1 right away. So Rook C1 right away, and against B5. Now D5 is very annoying. Yeah, this is a completely different story because of course knight B4 or knight A5 doesn't exist as it did. And against bishop E6 takes knight D4. Okay. So King H1 was a mistake. Wow. Who would have thought? I was just wanting to anticipate F5 stuff. And for example, F5 takes and knight F5 ideas where my bishop, like I would wish to have bishop G1, and I don't know, like queen B6, this diagonal is always key. So King H1 is a useful move, especially once King H1 always comes handy when you've moved the pawn on F2. So that's my instinct explained. But Rook C1. Yeah, that's interesting. And against F5, I have E5. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Time management not so well, yeah. Pretty poor. Okay, D6. So far we have had weird openings. Actually normal openings, but people are just not playing against our strongest. Against this, we had to be careful because bishop c4 is not working that well. So, but I'm gonna try it either way. I remember trying it once. Okay, yeah. So now we have to go bishop d3. Unfortunately, yeah, we just gave black b5, which is a useful move. So not amazing. Actually, I'm gonna go into damage control mode. Play knight ce2, which is a weird looking move. And I guess approach this in a Philidor-ish way. What am I doing? I'm allowing d5 stuff. Okay, I'm playing this very weirdly. Let's go back to usual chess principles. Now we can play bishop e3. h3 wasn't an insane move though. It is a useful move. It prevents knight g4. Good lord. So bishop e6, I'm going to play knight f3. At some point, I'm expecting my opponent to play h6. This... it looks like it blunders a pawn, but then there's knight takes c4 in the end. Pretty clever. So I'm going to go c3. c4 would be weakening too much, and knight e6, knight d4 would be in black's agenda. I'm going to go knight g3. I don't want to play f3. I don't think f3 is terrible, but I think I'm going to play knight g3 either way. Alternatively, I don't know where this knight would be going. The knight on g1 is probably coming to f3, which is a useful move, putting pressure on e5. And as I said, well, no longer relevant. But if the bishop had been on e6 rather than on b7, knight f3, knight g5, ideas were annoying. I'm going to play knight f3. And now I have a not so bad position. I think it could have been much worse. Although I did allow knight c5 for no good reason. Okay, let's go knight f5. Nope. Knight f5, we have to be worried about knight takes c4. We have to know what we're doing. Oh, wait a second. Knight c5 couldn't be played because maybe my opponent didn't like knight takes c5 stuff. I'm going to play queen e2 with the idea of protecting e4 indirectly. And here, I'm going to castle queenside. Okay, let's play bishop g5. The idea is that if this knight wants to move, and if I'm protecting this pawn on e4, so I'm preparing knight f5. Additionally, against knight f5, the common response is bishop f8, but if this knight moves, then bishop takes f6 is going to be in the air. And against this, I wanted h4. As crazy as it sounds. Not sure if it works, but I think I'm already slightly worse, so it's either this or slowly dying. Dying slowly. Yeah, it shouldn't work. This takes a knight h7 and then black can always go. But okay, it works. So let's come here actually, because e4 was hanging. And let's castle queen. Oof, that's insane. Sometimes I'm commentating and I listen to myself for a second and I'm like, okay, there's no way this works. And that was the case with castles queenside. I think a5, b4. I mean, who knows? Maybe it was the right way. g6 makes tons of sense. h5, targeting this guy. So now we get knight f5. I think this was a mistake. Knight h2, knight g4 is in my agenda. I'm gonna play all of this relatively quickly. So now knight g4 is targeting h6. Actually, I would argue that takes on h6 is probably a threat. Let's go queen f3. I think the queen is useful in here. Knight g4, pile up the pressure. Bishop f8, knight f6. What is the threat? Something like takes and queen f6. This is deadly. Okay. Rook takes. And knight e7 was my idea, but then potentially that's not working. Actually, I can take on g7 and take on e5. Let's do that. Queen f6, I can take. Hopefully start. F3 with the idea of rook f2. This is prophylaxis. And the reason why... Okay. F4. Not sure if this is right, but okay. Okay, this was completely blundered and this is game over now for me. Okay. Rook g2? Oh no. Now we're... Oh, there's f8. Okay, now we're winning again. Insane stuff going on. Okay. This is all random stuff. And like... Woof, woof, woof. That was a roller coaster. Thank you for the game, Aroski. Let's take a look. So what are we playing here? We are playing some sort of so they're playing the Pirc, despite Lichess claiming this is the check defense. Don't get fooled. Okay, well, it's probably called the check defense as well, but most commonly known as the Pirc, I would argue. Bishop c4 is not the way, and we already knew that. The way is f4, but I had something in mind here. I do have a repertoire for online games. And I was trying to recall what to do here. I failed to see. I'm not sure. Maybe next time I should just play knight f3 and against knight f6 d3 and play those structures with d3 and yeah, argue that we're simply up a tempo in all of those positions. I think that's what I'm gonna do next time. Of course, d4, yeah, this is absolutely fine. This is actually what you should play as white to kind of punish black for not occupying the center right away. But okay, setup chess, schematic chess is also interesting. Definitely modern opening theory days, modern era. Let's see, where did we go completely wrong? Actually, we're slightly better still. Knight c2 was fine. h3 was okay. This is wrong. I should have gone knight f3, not panicked. Yeah, I panicked. Now it's black slightly better. The engine thinks that I should have gone for this and allowed knight takes e4 because there's knight e2, which makes sense. But c3, yeah, now this is almost -1, so this is not good. And here I had knight f5 apparently. Ah, because there's queen g4, what a tactic. Yeah, this makes tons of sense. I missed that. I have to work on my tactics again. I've been working in my openings too much. Queen e2 is fine. So now we're roughly equalized. What did black have to play? Queen c7 right away. And if queen e2, g6 with the idea of a5, obviously. Playing in right and then in the left. What if a5 directly? Why is g6 needed? Ah, of course. So g6 wants to prevent knight f5. That's why black doesn't want to go a5 directly. So why are you not going rook f e8? Actually, what? Like, first things first. Why is knight takes e4? Okay, of course. Sorry. Pathetic by me. Rook f e8. Okay, so knight f5 now. Of course, now we're losing the pawn because this is defended. Yeah. But isn't rook f8 a better way of preventing knight f5 than g6? The answer to that question is... no. It seems, because if g6, let's just compare this very quickly. Yeah, I have no idea. g6 is better than rook f e8 for some reason, the engine likes, but okay, let's not trust depth 25 too much. Yeah, the engine at this low depth may be crazy sometimes. I don't know why rook f e8 would be inferior to g6. I would prefer rook f e8 if anything. But okay, bishop g5 was played. Bad move by me. h4 is not working. Like takes knight e7 as we concluded. But okay, this is the good thing about playing against other humans, that they get scared. And yeah, we should have simply castled here. We're probably struggling here. Yeah, the eval bar probably going up and down. Hello, ajedrecista. Hello, Jean Pauto. Yeah, after h5, black had to simply tolerate and keep the tension, tolerate this. But g5, this is a crime. And then yeah, we're better. But okay, the question is, can I do this with 27 seconds on the clock? The answer to the question is barely. But okay, f5 is a super blunder. King h2, I would have kept the balance. I think I already messed up actually, by the way. Like knight f6 was strong and rook f1. But those moves are tougher to make in time trouble. And we ended up taking the point in the end. There we go. Now we're going to get a normal opening. We're going to play the delayed Alapin, bishop e2. Of course, knight 64 is not possible because of queen a4, sorry. Knight b7 is one of the decent tries against this. Now knight 64 is a threat, so I have to defend this. There are two ways, d3 or queen c2. Queen c2 is better, because then black has to play queen c7. So it's a little bit less likely your opponent is going to know queen c7 in this position. What's the idea of queen c7? This is a very beautiful prophylactic move. It goes against d4, because after takes, you can no longer take c takes d4. In fact, you have to take with the knight. And it's still interesting. You can go for a Murksy structure, but now you simply go d4, and after takes, you can play the superior c takes d4, and you're doing well. So white, I presume, gets their slight plus in this position. I'm going to castle here. Bishop g7 makes sense, and I'm just wondering, takes, and rook d1. It is a symmetric structure. I think I'm gonna do that. Takes, rook d1, queen c7, knight a3, with the idea of knight b5. So a6, I'm assuming, castle short side, knight b5, knight d6 looks annoying. Okay, that makes sense. Knight c4, a4. I'm going to play a4, now b5 is not possible, and I want to cement, stabilize things, lock the queen side. All of those words, synonyms. Yeah, maybe this was a little bit slow. Okay, let's go a5. The idea here was knight b6, but there's rook takes d1. So I want to play rook e1 here. I know that there are no entrances, and I want to play knight b6, gaining a tempo on this rook. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to keep the rook e1. I've seen these ideas. Ivanchuk played it against another, I'm not sure if it was Kramnik or something like that. There's a famous move in which Ivanchuk seemingly allows black to occupy the second rank, or makes a move that stops fighting for the open file, and it looks very weird. But it's very... It has a clear idea. Okay, I'm comparing myself with Ivanchuk. A little bit too much. Bishop e3, bishop g5, bishop g5, f6, and I don't see how that improved my position ton, so I'm gonna just play bishop e3, and I guess after f3, at some point I'm just gonna come back and claim. Actually, I'm gonna throw in h4 and see if they want. Okay. Queen d2, knight d2, rook. This looks too natural. Knight f6. Let's go f3 now. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. It seems like we're making progress. Okay. So I saw that. I'm joking, I didn't. But I saw that previously, and I thought to myself, well, even if they get the pawn, I don't know, it's the bishop pair. Bishop 65. Ugh. Yeah, this is not going my way now. Bishop d5. Ugh. Queen a2. What is that doing? Not sure. Rook d8 is running into a tactic, so knight 65 makes sense. But then I take rook 65, threatening c5 and a6, queen b6, b4, queen b7. Oh, okay, now we're back to business, but we have less than 20 seconds. Classic. Okay, this blunders this guy, which I'm quite sure my opponent saw. Okay, this, now we're all blundering here, left and right. Queen e1, I blundered. Classic. Queen a3, that doesn't even defend. Okay. Yeah, this is horrible. Queen e3, king h2, bishop 65. I gave them the chance of reivindicating themselves, so this is even better. I'm gonna go queen e6. e5, it doesn't even work. Check, I'm gonna see if I can go for any tricks here. Queen h5 is made. But I get flagged. Thanks for the game, ISO. That was terribly managed by me. I became silly. That's the problem. I became silly. So we were playing pretty nicely up to that point. And it's a shame because the opening was a success. D takes e5 already here is the accurate way, but okay, castles is absolutely fine. This is, yeah. This is all good. Rook d1 is fine. Bishop b5 here. Okay, no, this was, never mind. I thought it was more clear than that, but okay, it's c4 and then knight c3, which is not entirely obvious. But the reason why white is slightly better in these positions is actually two main reasons. This is +1 for white, so it's a big advantage already. Firstly, if you compare this knight to this knight, this one's better because it has access to d5 more than this knight has access to d4. And secondly, this bishop on c1 is much better than this one because of the pawn structure. So knight e3 is allowing castle short side, but a6 is also fine. Now we're back to a small plus. Rook e1 is correct. Bishop d2 is also correct. But allowing the exchange seems to not be. So rook e1, we should be proud about that decision. Yeah, this is the problem. I mean, we were playing well, but this position requires attention and a lot of responsibility. My advantage is not dynamic. It's easier to attack in blitz games, I would argue. But it's more static, and f3 is just a horrible move. I mean, knight b6. Why did I not play knight b6, by the way? Yeah, like, I forgot that I didn't play knight b6 previously because there was a knight on d7, so I wasn't constantly updating the position. So I failed miserably. And then, yeah, I mean, this is fine. This is even slightly better for white. And I kind of knew it, but queen b3 is just wrong. Queen d2 was better. Rook d6. That makes sense. I think rook d6 is findable. Queen d2 is a little bit less findable. Because especially after b5, you have to play bishop d5. If you play something like bishop b3, you get locked. Well, the diagonal gets closed. So bishop d5 is important. Of course, rook d8 is not possible because you have this tactic. And after this, wow, you take with the pawn and you create a passed pawn. Interesting. And it's almost +1. Amazing. But queen b3 is already a mistake because of the strong queen c7. After queen c7, it's just slightly better for black already. Oh, I play queen e2, which is the top engine move. Bishop d5. Now we're back in business. We should have taken here, though. Because there's this tactic, queen f2. What a beautiful tactic. I wish I had seen that. Yeah. This could have been the game here. Because this is pretty tricky, and considering that my opponent was playing for time, as they should. Yeah. Okay, well, once again, good game, but we have to manage our time better. Can I challenge you, Dave? So sorry, Andres. Purely playing. Hello, Twilight. Good to see. Good to have you, I guess. Okay, let's play our Philidor stuff. Oh, okay, knight ge2. I was actually checking this not long ago. So we go c6. Not sure if it was bishop e7 or c6. So they prevent b5. This is the way people play. You go bishop e7. They want to go g4, so you prevent that. And then I think you just play knight b7 and you play scheme chess. I'm gonna go knight bd7. At some point I think we have to play a5, or it seems like a useful move at least. Or maybe not. I'm gonna castle then. Castles is definitely useful for now. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play a5. Even if they go f4, it may seem scary. Especially it looks weird because you move the pawn on h2 from h7 and h5. This is the type of thing that is difficult to come up on over the board, and that's why it's useful to learn theory. The reason why you can afford to play h5, which wasn't discovered by a human, I think it was discovered by an engine or originally, it's very difficult to discover this as a human, is that this knight is not on f3, it's on e2. On f3 it would be a little bit scarier. Okay, rook e8. Rook e8 is a useful move. I'm trying to go knight f8. But in these positions, sometimes black also plays something like Queen c7, bishop f8. So definitely keeping the tension on e5. And I remember now. Yeah, it's your usual Philidor stuff. You take on d4. You play knight c5. I remember now. So let's just play b6. Although we have to calculate d5. So let's take then. And let's play knight e5 in this case. To prevent bishop takes f6. Okay, we have a decent... Okay, f4 is something to worry about a little bit. So we have to be aware. Okay, let's see. d5. No, that doesn't look right. This is annoying all of a sudden. Okay, let's anticipate it. Oh, yeah, I'm in trouble, I think. Okay, let's go back. I think I'm in trouble. Okay, let's act like everything is fine. I don't see anything better. Trying to get bishop a6 and bring my pieces. I got a similar position a couple of streams ago. My opponent went e5, sacrificed the pawn, which is a very natural reaction. Yep. Okay, let's go bishop b7. Oh, bishop a6. Okay, bishop b7. Let's go bishop b7, especially because after e5 there's c5 ideas. Okay, let's go c5. You don't get another chance. Knight b5. Queen d8. Okay, there's this. Oh, wait a second. We're winning here. A knight. Because the queen is on f3. So they have to sacrifice it. 20 seconds left. I'm quite sure white has tons of compensation for the piece. Because look at my pieces. Look at my king safety. Where are all of the pawns that were at some point protecting my king? I broke way too many rules. Okay, this seems like a reasonable way of sacrificing the piece. Okay, let's take this first. Provoking that king outside a little bit. So queen c6 is check now. f5, queen c6, queen h6 is trading the queens. I know it's not. Queen there, but I have this. I'm just gonna put my pieces back in the game. e3, rook d2 is a big problem. This. What is the threat? Knight g4? Oh, that's not working. What am I doing? What is this? Oh, it's working somehow. Oh, no, it's not. Wow. What a game. Thanks for the game, whale, brah. We took the points. So, yeah, c6, a4. There was a Hikaru Nakamura against Magnus Carlsen game recently. Magnus was black. So, yeah, bishop e7 here is more natural than c6 here, by the way. I think we played this in a suboptimal move order. But okay, let's say c6, a4, bishop b7. So c6 is threatening b5, by the way. And b5 is annoying because you're constantly threatening b4. Sometimes you're even taking on e4, winning a pawn. Now, h5 was wrong here. It's always difficult to know when to allow g4 and when not to allow this. I suppose that d5 is a problem, so white can't go for g4. But yeah, I should have castled. G3 is another way of playing, by the way, and after castles, bishop g2, you go a5, castles, and then rook e8. Let's say f4, because that's the way people play. Let's say h3. Okay, knight bd7, let's say bishop e3, so now we're kind of transposing. Do you see, guys, how for a couple of moves we didn't have anything? Because I'm just making the moves that I know. Everyone is just making useful moves, and it's not a surprise that you end up transposing into the main line or a game. Because I'm making useful moves regardless. And this is the type of play and position and game that white is playing for. From the moment they play knight ge2, they're playing for this schematic chess that relies on very specific moves, in the same way that the Philidor is always, you know, you can almost pre-move d6, knight f6, e5, knight b7, bishop e7, castles, c6 takes, knight c5, or even the other lines of the Philidor where you could go rook e8, bishop f8, queen c7. You could have played Todos son horribles. Where are you from? I'm from Mexico. Todos son horribles. Yeah, todas las jugadas, probablemente. You could have played 14th, move h4. Ooh. I don't think so. I don't think I could have played knight h4 here. Knight takes h4. But it would have been interesting if, I mean, of course, if it wasn't built on knight x4, like, I agree. I think there's like d5 here. Even better, knight takes e4. Ah, I see what you mean. Knight takes e4 here? Why is this not working? The engine doesn't like it. I haven't seen why. Oh, I see it now. Knight g5, yeah. And then there's this double attack. After knight g5, I see. Where? Ah, h4. Yeah, you're right. The engine likes it. I mean, I'm still worse, but... yeah, h4 was better. Because this, what I did was, yeah, h4 is better. Knight g6 was my immediate reaction, and this is what the engine also likes. But I didn't know what to do after f4 against h4. Eventually I have to find h4, which I wasn't seeing. Thanks. No, it's okay, it's okay. It's amazing that we survived this. With, you know, the amount of time we had. Yeah, this is just completely... like, it was better to take with the knight. This is +3. I didn't expect... I thought there was enough compensation. I thought it would be equality, and white would have enough compensation. I couldn't have been further away from the truth. Knight takes f7 followed by knight d5. Ah, because there's queen takes h5. What a... okay, what's the difference then? Queen takes h5, king g8. Okay, there's no difference. You can also go for this. Yeah, it's just that the king is so unsafe. Yeah, it makes tons of sense. But I didn't see this idea of... I was always calculating things like this and taking with the pawn. And then even this is... okay, it's better for white, but it's not winning. Actually, it's getting closer to equality the more we leave this for the engine to figure out. But after queen takes h5, I can take, and yeah, this is equal. Like, taking with the pawn would have been better because you gain a tempo on queen takes f7, the threat. It's not clear after knight e5, though. I guess that white is going to double. What if bishop g7? Yeah, ignore it. Makes sense. Bishop 6 f6 wouldn't have been a threat either way. And yeah, all of a sudden we're winning here. Insane. Yeah, e5 was the blunder here. Knight b5 would have been better. Well. The idea of d5 and knight g6 somewhere. Yeah, that's Maybe I should have analyzed the moments before we got us to the worst position. Okay, our opponent failed to make a move. Let's see. So our opponent blitzes out d5. Against d5, I've heard you have to take. And let me make this point clear. This is the best move by far. But I'm gonna play a sideline in hoping actually that I transpose into some sort of Philidor, but okay, this couldn't be further away. So we're gonna just transpose into typical lines. You go for this line, which is it's not very. I don't think it's the way you play this. You have to play, or maybe it's just a sideline, but not a very good one. Okay, I'm gonna play queen e2. This is the way you approach things in these positions very often. I'm gonna play h3. Knight f5 makes sense. I'm gonna play g4, killing everyone actually. Sorry, just to be family friendly here. Limiting, neutralizing everyone. All of these minor pieces, but okay. This guy has moved already. Taking with the bishop or taking with the knight, that's the big question so far. I can also keep the tension, I guess. I'm gonna take with the knight. I appreciate my bishops. I'm gonna play bishop d3. And you're gonna say, David, this bishop is not great. Well, this bishop isn't great, nor those. Those two bishops are not good either. So things are balanced. I'm gonna play bishop f4 here. I'm not scared of f5 because I have immediately g5. I like this position actually. I think this is very dangerous for black. h4, h5 in the future. Like I'm gonna play knight e5, defend g4 appropriately. And I'm gonna absolutely crush in the king side. So there's knight e5, h4, and this is looking grim. Bishop takes e3, I even get to double the rooks. I think this is game over. This looks resignable. Okay, resignable is a big stretch. I think we can take this because if this knight g6 is working. Yeah, everything gonna take with the rook. Bishop takes e5. I take with the pawn, and I'm up a pawn plus the attack. Although the attack, yeah, no longer exists, but I guess we go into conversion mode. Our threat is rook d1 all of a sudden because e6 is not possible. Okay, let's play normal chess now that we're up a pawn. And this knight is extremely bad as well. Okay, let's go e6. After takes, this is not possible because the rook is hanging. This is a super sad move to make. So I feel bad for the opponent. I'm joking. Don't never feel bad for the opponent. First of all, it's just a game. Second of all, okay, it's not just a game. How do I explain this in time trouble? Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna finish this game first and then okay, let's go check, and if rook f6, I'm just gonna play takes and keep the pawn. Ugh. There's also g5. If it works, it works. Ooh, there's a beautiful line. Oh, I'm gonna make that move. Okay, no longer. Rook f6, g5 takes. I sacrifice the queen. Many ways, I think. Many moves won. Okay, let's take and let's double here. We should be winning. Okay, let's overprotect e6. And take this bishop to this diagonal. Where am I? Where am I? Why do I have 10 seconds all of a sudden? I'm panicking. Yeah, this is tough. Queen d8! Queen d8! What am I doing? Okay, it doesn't even work. What am I doing? I can't. No, I mouse lift! Ay. Thanks for the game, player. 2020. That's insane. That's insane. Okay. That's... I shouldn't get too caught up with these things. We're here for the quality of chess. We're supposed to be here for the quality of the chess. Good lord. Oh, that would have been a... That would have been pretty nice. Like, less than 1 second. Good lord. Okay, but we were absolutely winning. What was the quickest way? Okay, I was thinking of this, but I got scared of this. Didn't see Queen 65. I can also go for this to make my life easier. But I wanted to go for mate because I still have like around 10 seconds. I just froze for a second. At some point you just freeze and you get scared. Like, what happens to me is that I get bishop I'm thinking of bishop e3 and bishop d4 and it's completely game over after that. Completely. But my opponent, if your opponent starts stopping your ideas, it's pretty dangerous. What is wrong with me? That was such a good game so far. Pathetic stuff. Okay. Yeah, I think knight I've never seen this. Okay, it's supposed to be a line, but... Oh, okay, we went wrong actually. Knight ag5 we're supposed to play. And this would have worked out. Wow, yeah, this looks pretty bad. Things are pretty rough already. Jeez, exactly. Yeah, g4 is correct. Taking on d5 with the knight is wrong. Wow, bishop b3. Just keeping the tension. Why is this wrong? Because of f6 and rook e8 or a6. But f6 is almost equalizing on the spot. And I guess e5 is difficult to stop. And even here we should have played bishop b3. I guess if f6, if I didn't know that f6 e5. I just thought that black would go e6 almost against anything. And I thought to myself, well, the bishop is better on d3 than on b3. Interesting. I can't believe I didn't win this. +3. +4, almost. And we were converting it well. g5 here, this is better, yeah. I mean, queen e5 is fine as well. Yeah. What? I failed to see this. There was queen b8 here. That's insane. That's insane. Let's get out of here. But okay, I think we have time for one more game. The games have been pretty fun. We're lagging. Hopefully everyone comes back soon. Welcome back. If you guys stuttered, I apologize. I've done everything in my power and control to avoid the lag. Okay, we get the main line of the Philidor. I'm gonna castle here. Rook e1. It's funny that white is not including a4. Usually white includes a4. So now we have to kind of think by ourselves. c6 is a useful move in general. c6 is very often supporting a future d5. And white goes bishop b3. So I'm going to occupy space in the queen side. Let's see. Okay. We include a4, a5, and actually now we're back to some theory that I was more or less familiar with, and that has to do with taking and playing knight c5. So now this is gaining a tempo on the bishop, which wouldn't have been possible if the bishop was on c4, of course. And surprisingly, white simply allows it. So that white would take with the pawn, claiming that activity is going to compensate for the damaged pawn structure, but that wasn't the case. No, it's insane that I lost that game. That last game was pathetic. I mean, well, it was good actually, but pathetically not converted, I guess. Bishop e6. I'm not scared of knight d4. I'm going to play queen b6, I think. And I have some tactics. Queen d4. I can't predict, sorry, any of the moves that my opponent makes. So I can go knight d7, sacrifice this pawn. I can go knight e8, I suppose. Knight h5 is also... Actually, knight h5 I like. Because I was trying to find a way of playing bishop f6. But let's say bishop e3, bishop f6, queen d1 is annoying, hitting the knight. And then I have to play g6. Not too sure about that. Rook a6, rook b6, rook b4 is creative. Okay, let's focus here. I'm gonna go for knight h5. I failed to find the best plan. Life is tough. What can we do? There's also this plan, but okay, let me go for this. What? There's no way. There is absolutely no way. Queen e7 is a useful move in general. Now rook a6 is a super threat, I guess. Knight takes a5, rook a6. Queen b4 is the only move because queen takes b7, rook takes a5. But after that, I have c5, queen b5, bishop d7, and we're winning. Oh, but there's... Oh no, this is not hanging it because the c5 pawn is blocking the 5th rank. So in no moment queen b5, queen takes h5 is possible. But I would be... I don't know, I think we're missing some important lines here. Okay, let's exercise our tactics here. So we can take here to simplify, to make things... I know, but that's actually not... Like, the reason why queen takes b7 doesn't work is because we have rook takes a5 thanks to this bishop. Let's go to c5. Let's go bishop d7. What am I missing? Ah, knight d5 is such a strong move here. Wow, I didn't see this. Oh, but then maybe we should have taken here. Okay. Enough of this. It's old news by now. Oh, queen e4 maybe works. You know what? I don't know. I have 12 seconds. I'm gonna get flagged here. It was fun while it lasted, I suppose. Good lord. I have no idea. Let's take here. And let's take there. Okay, let's sacrifice this dude. This. This. And knight g7. Classic. Okay. Okay. We're getting a little bit destroyed here. Yeah. Thanks for the game, Sunny. I managed my time poorly. What can I say? Nothing new, but we were doing well, but like we were doing well time management wise. I think it was just these last two games. Yeah, we're completely winning here. But I was worried about knight d5 here. And this is equal. We have to find queen e6, which I'm not sure I would have. The only move to equalize. What was the cleanest win? Queen b6 can't be right. Queen d7 is best. And now bishop d8. Yeah. Okay, queen d7. Crossed my mind, but queen e7 looked more natural. I couldn't believe this. Bishop e5 is the best, by the way. Rook a6. Blunders to knight takes c6. This is insane. Okay. And what if queen d7? Queen b5. And queen takes h5. So this knight is a technical weakness after all. Interesting. Well, we win some and we lose some. Opening wise, yeah, it takes d4 is fine, knight c5 is fine. And we should have kept the tension according to this, but I took, which can't be that bad, and it wasn't that bad. Bishop g4 was the best. Provoking f3, interesting. Interesting, okay. Provoking f3. So what if this and knight d4 here, and then d5 is better for some reason. Knight h5 was right. But f5 here with the idea of f4, I'm assuming. Yeah, f4, f3 is a big threat. So they have to take, and then we take, and then we're gonna get d5 next. Well, bishop takes c2, so... Wow, that's instructive. Like, I wasn't aware of the idea of moving the knight and going f5 in these structures. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna call it a day. It's a little bit less than an hour. Thanks everyone for joining. Yeah, we failed to convert tons of games. But what can I say? We were getting good quality games, and yeah, I promise I'll keep an eye on the clock. I have been making some small progress, but yeah, it's a difficult balance to make between opening theory and, you know, instructive games. And 3+0 is not the way for instructive games. I'm aware of that, but it's the way to go if you want to get a decent amount of games in an hour, which is my time window. But yeah, thanks everyone. As I said, hopefully you guys learned something, and I will see you for tomorrow's stream. Thanks everyone. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.